Stanislav, I looked at November visa bulletin and I see that backlog for EB-2 category did not move. It's been stagnating for a couple of months now. Can you please explain how do those things work and what are your predictions as to the backlog for EB-2 NIW? That's the question for today's video, guys, and also you will learn how to get a free evaluation of your EB-2 NIW case. Let's go! Hello my dear friends, I'm Stanislav Shamayev, a licensed business immigration and corporate attorney in Miami, Florida. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the topic of EB-2 NIW and the backlog that relates to this EB-2 category. But let's take a step back and remember what's EB-2 NIW. EB-2 NIW is the green card residency that is in the second employment-based category. EB-2 has two distinct types of visas. Just regular classic EB-2 when you have an employer and that employer goes through the process of PERM, labor certification with Department of Labor. That's a lengthy process that might take 3-4 years altogether, including the backlog that we have. And this video does not really apply to Indians and to Chinese, okay? Because you guys, you're through the roof, but you guys have a better option of EB-1A. Please watch this video right here where I explain how that works. EB-2 NIW is the second type of this visa, and the biggest difference that it does not require the employer and the labor certification process. And this is huge because first of all, it saves you time. Second of all, you do not have to rely and pray on and to someone. So this is significant, all right? Now, what are the criteria of EB-2 NIW? You have a higher education, you have an idea how you're gonna help the United States of America, an important idea, and you have relevant experience to prove that you're well positioned to implement that idea that you have for the US government. Let me give you an example. Just the recent approval of EB-2 NIW. My client from Russia, who is IT cybersecurity specialist, he has master's degree in cybersecurity, IT and cybersecurity to be exact. He has about 7-9 years in cybersecurity space working for the government first and opening up his own company and creating that platform for small, mid-size and large businesses to be protected from DDoS attacks. He's been successful with this platform because it's being used in Eastern Europe, so he's well positioned. And he's coming to the US to offer his platform and to help the US businesses to prevent the hackers' attacks. This is a huge problem in the US. Every single minute, some entity, some companies being DDoSed, right? So, and they cannot work because what that means, and the way I understand, and I know you guys like gonna correct me, but for a layperson terms, the hackers, they overload the servers with requests and it just crashes, right? It doesn't work. So the company loses business. So there's a problem, and fixing this problem is important to the US government. His platform is going to resolve those issues, and he's going to be the one to develop this idea here. So he got approved, okay? So education, a project, and his past experience with similar projects. That's all what it takes, all right? Now, and I know some of you understand what I'm talking about. Some of you already advanced, especially if you follow me on YouTube. Smash that like button, guys, if you like my videos, and follow me on YouTube because no one ever is giving you this value in this field. And these are not my words. These are the words of my clients who already got the approvals for all the 10 years that I've been practicing. And that's more than 2,500 cases, okay? So smash that like button, follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, how does backlog form? Because we know EB-2 category is associated with backlog. Oh my God, Stanislav, I'm not going to do this because there's a backlog. That's the wrong statement. I disagree with it. Even if the backlog was 5 years, what are your other options? If you qualify for EB-2 NIW and you don't qualify for EB-1A, which actually could be the case that you do qualify, right? But if you don't, if there's no employer, if you don't have $1 million, if you're not a priest with the employer, if you don't have relatives in the US, and it's a rhetorical question, okay? So backlog first should not stop you in no way unless you're Indian or Chinese, and even you guys know you're still gonna do EB-2 if it's offered to you, right? I know it because I have a lot of Indian clients. I have less Chinese. I don't know why. I want you guys from China, please. But you know that, right? And I know that. So pretty much everybody's gonna do it who has the chance to do this, right? Because it's done basically not for you, it's done for all the generations ahead. And they're not gonna remember Stanislav. They're gonna remember you. That's another more philosophical reason to do this. But again, for the majority of the world, EB-2 NIW is not that bad. At this point, it's about a year and a half after the approval of wait time. Not too bad, right? So how does it form? And how do we know what's the backlog? Well, let's start with the second question, because that one is easy. Every month, the Department of State releases the fresh visa bulletin. And this is the fresh one for November, right? And the next one is for December. And it's easy to find. Visa bulletin in the Google, bam, the first link is going to lead you to the website. There's a bunch of things going on there, but we scroll down to employment-based categories and find the table that's going to have all the all EB categories and the backlog, if there is any. Okay, the only two visas that don't have backlog is EB-1 and EB-5 for most of the countries, and less for Chinese and Indians. But EB-2 NIW is year and a half for the majority of the world, and for Chinese and Indians, you guys have a special thing going with that thing. It's much longer. How does it form? Well, to understand that, you need to first know that each country in the world cannot get by law more than 7% of the total visas allocated for the fiscal year. How many visas allocated for the fiscal year? And I'm talking about immigrant visas, right? Not all visas, but immigrant visas that are equal to green cards. About 700,000 visas. Do your math. How much is 7% of the 700,000? That's easy to calculate, right? So, of course, some countries, like India and China, file more and get more approved. So it accumulates and gives you that long line, that long queue. But most of the countries don't, right? Like Eastern Europe, Western Europe, South America, Central America. So the overall backlog is formed by the number of cases filed, being approved, and calculating how many visas are allocated for this particular category. And EB-2 category, if I'm not mistaken, gets about 28% of the total visas, which is about 190,000 a year. Okay, so of course, if we get more than 190,000 a year approved in EB-2 category annually, that piles up and gives that a year and a half. So in other words, right now we have about 300,000, maybe a little bit less, of approved petitions waiting for the priority date to come. So there are two factors affecting this formula: how many filed, how many approved. And a little bit which country, but again, only for some countries. Of course, the black swan events like COVID, wars, crazy disasters, whatever may happen may affect, and we've seen that in the past, but how often do they happen? Not too often, not too often. So basically, it never stops that people gonna file those petitions. The approval rate, of course, it fluctuates. It's better with the Republicans and it's worse with Democrats. That could affect the backlog if we get less approvals. And that's why, Democrats trying to get it less to decrease the backlog and to get more illegal immigrants in the country. All right? That's my opinion. That's my opinion. So the question now is as follows. Can you or me affect the backlog? Probably I can a little bit, right? Not to get approved for my clients. That's not going to happen, right? I can affect it in a worse way for you because I file more cases and I get them more approved, right? So I affect the system. But you cannot affect it. You can either do this or don't do this. If you do this, yes, you're gonna have to wait. But if you don't do this, there is no other chance, okay? Maybe diversity lottery, this is like 0.25% with my fresh calculations. Not happening, okay? That's not happening. Stanislav, I wanna see if my case is gonna fall into the area, into the part where my case is gonna be approved with 90% chance or more. So how do I know that? Very easy. You need to go through a free evaluation process. And the link is below this video with big capital letters, free evaluation. Click on it, fill out the questionnaire. It'll take me 2 days to get back to you with analysis, with written analysis of your case, and I'll let you know how strong your EB-2 NIW is and if it's strong enough to file it within the next 6 months with improving the case. I will invite you to the complex immigration planning KEEP to prepare the written winning strategy in your case. So do the free evaluation right now to assess your chances. Also, subscribe to my YouTube, my Telegram, my Instagram, and other platforms. All the links are below this video. My name is Stanislav Shamayev. I'm a lawyer of the future. Your future begins here. Good luck.